As promised, guys, welcome day 2. I am putting about a quarter cup of bacon grease from this morning's breakfast in some that I saved into my cast iron skillet. Just going to be letting that melt, and we're going to cook up some really delicious cornbread in the sun oven. So first thing I'm going to do, and guys, I'm just kind of winging it, hoping it comes out. I am going to slice up about half of an onion. This is a pretty large onion. This is a Vidalia. I am trying to make every bit count, so I'll just peel away any parts that are less than usable, like this. So we're gonna start here by just chopping up. One nice thing about outside, you can just throw it on the ground. Maybe I'll do more like a quarter onion. Let's see what that looks like, because we're going to be making some homemade cornbread. Now, have I ever made cornbread in the sun oven? Why no? No, I'm not. I have not. But I've got the sun oven out preheating. It was up to 250 just a moment ago. So yeah, get yourself a nice big handful of onion. I'm probably driving my neighbors crazy with these delicious smells. Like, who doesn't enjoy a little bacon grease, right? And onion. Yes, girlies. I'm also driving the chickens a bit crazy. That's as low as I go here. So let me tell you a little bit about the cornbread recipe that I am going to be using. So it is a cup of flour, all-purpose flour, a cup of cornmeal. I'm using yellow, that's what I have. Thankfully I have some pre-ground. 2 teaspoons of baking powder, not soda. A teaspoon of Redmond real salt. And about 1/3 of a cup of sugar. If you don't like your cornbread sweet, cut it back to a tablespoon or so. To that, for the wet ingredients, you need a cup of milk. Well, I don't have milk. I have dried buttermilk. So if you buy your buttermilk powder from Azure, it's 1 cup of cold water, 3 tablespoons of buttermilk powder. So I just made myself a cup. I got an egg from the Girly Girls, just laid. And I will be adding all of the bacon grease, because it's about 1/4 cup, into the liquid portion of the ingredients. Now, just because I am who I am, yeah, that's as low as it goes, I am going to add in a little bit of cowboy candy. So if you've never had cowboy candy, Jesus, it is sweet pickled jalapenos, and jalapenos are commonly added to cornbread, so this isn't all that unusual, right? I want them pretty fine. So, yeah. I've got a chicken audience, y'all. Alright, so I have those well diced. I'm going to just put them into my liquid ingredients, even though they're a solid, just for ease. And if you can hear the girls pecking, I'm not sure they're all of a sudden super excited about the edge of the deck where the water from the outdoor sink has been running. So I'm not a chicken, I don't know. All right, guys, I think our onions are done. Let's get to mixing our cornbread up. Now, one thing I can tell you, in a prolonged power outage, would definitely be storing some things outdoors. That's not smart. Let me grab a different towel. Keep trying to put things away and then I need them again. Okay. So I've mixed up our dry ingredients, as I said. Well, you're gonna add in those delicious cooked onions. I'm not gonna worry about scraping the pan right now because we are going to be making some delicious chili soup to go with our cornbread. But I wanted to get the cornbread started because it may take a little bit, guys. I've never made cornbread in the sun oven. So the reason I put the hot grease, you could use olive oil, avocado, whatever, is because I did not want to curdle my buttermilk and egg. So go ahead and add that all at once. Throw these jalapenos out. And you want to mix until everything is combined, but you don't want to overdo it. So if you mix it too much, your cornbread won't be as fluffy. So just until all of it's combined. There you go. I don't know if you can all hear them pecking. I'm gonna have to investigate a little bit because they are going to town. All right, so I do have one layer of the Sun Oven brand double oven. I did spray it with a little bit of olive oil and I'm just gonna put it in. I have no idea how long this will take, so I'll just have to keep a close eye on it. But I'll be sure and let you know. So when you think about cooking cornbread, it's usually cooked at 400. Well, my Sun Oven's not gonna be 400 degrees on a day like today. So it's probably gonna be more like 300. So it may take an hour, I don't know. But let's go ahead and get it in the Sun Oven. And then we're gonna get to making our delicious soup that we're gonna have with our cornbread. Stay tuned. If you've never used a Sun Oven, if you see the little circle inside the white plastic, that is aligned at the maximum alignment with the sun. So that's what you're aiming for. And let's go around here. So we are at about 275. So let me get this in and we'll get to baking our cornbread. What are you girly girls doing? Huh? Why are you all? They're interested right here. I don't know why. What are you doing, Jolene? Huh? All right, well, let's get on to our next item we're gonna cook today. All right, now let's get to making some chili. So I added just a touch of the bacon grease to the pan. There's a little left from the cornbread. And I have here, about 1/3 of an onion. And I am just gonna let that get nicely softened and kind of caramelized. And then what I'm going to add to it is 1 pound of Jimmy Dean hot sausage. Now, in a true grid down situation, you might not want to open your refrigerator. You may feel like you have the best chance of things doing well if you don't open, the refrigerator. So it's kind of windy here. I made the choice to go ahead and open the fridge because obviously I'm not in a grid down situation. This is an exercise. And guys, if you missed part 1, this may not make any sense to you. So go back and watch part 1 that aired on Saturday morning. You should be seeing on Sunday morning, and it'll make a little bit more sense to you what I'm doing and why. So I started thinking about it, and I thought, wow, I really don't have a great plan B for refrigeration. But what I do have is an 80-quart Cuisinart cooler that I could keep things in refrigerator-wise. I just simply wouldn't open the deep freeze until I was ready to can everything in there if it was a long-term grid down scenario, which hopefully it would not be. So I'm finding all sorts of holes in thinking I'm prepared, realizing I'm low in supply on certain things, realizing I'm very blessed to have certain things, like the stove, like the outdoor sink. And guys, I left the hot water from water bathing those tomatoes. I just left it there with the lid on it and hoped that it would hold its warmth, and that's what I've been using. I've just been ladling it out to wash my dishes. It's been working pretty well. I think this could almost be turned up just a touch. So one thing I can tell you all, I'm tired. I'm old and I'm tired. So I'm used to all the conveniences. I'm not used to the 8,000 trips I've made in, out, to drag things out, wash them, put them back, drag things out, wash them, put them back. So it is an adjustment. One thing that I think I would do if it was going to be, you know, a few days of doing this, that 80-quart Cuisinart cooler, being on wheels, it would be very easy to roll it into the kitchen, and or you could just use a cooler. I mean, it's not because you want to keep it cool, it's just you want to keep it sanitary. So I can see why, you know, as difficult as it is to wash dishes and things like that, that people were probably a bit more efficient and a lot less wasteful. So they had to wash all their dishes by hand. There were no dishwashers, right? Okay guys, I'm gonna let this cook up. I'm gonna add my sausage, then I'm gonna grab the big stock pot and talk about what we're gonna add to it, and then we're gonna let it go low and slow while our cornbread is cooking, and hopefully we'll have some really good chili soup a little bit later this afternoon. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's gonna be lunch and dinner. I'm not cooking again. So, you know, that is one thing I totally understand why there were a lot of leftovers back in the day, you know, because of this effort it takes to make things. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Y'all, I don't know if it's because I've worked hard and I'm hungry, but it smells amazing out here. All right, so I've got my big cast iron enamel coated Lodge Dutch oven. So what am I going to add to it? Well, if you all remember, we actually made some chili starter back in February of this year. So it would be in my canning playlist. Nice tight seal. Smells good. So this is beans, tomatoes, spices. So like all the beans. But I want to make this a very hearty chili, so I may even add a quart of tomatoes to kind of thin it down, because this is going to be too thick without that addition. Oh boy, I get to wash that jar. And I'm also going to add a can of my ranch black beans, and I do have a video on that as well. Or I'm pretty sure I got this recipe from Homestead Tussie. So I don't want to take any credit for somebody else's work. Oh yeah, that's going to be way too thick. So let's get a quart of tomatoes. Let's stir our meat and onions here first. Oh wow. Y'all, this is going to be some good eats. I don't think I'm going to need to add any seasonings. but we can check it. We can taste it as it cooks. Yes. I want my sausage to get nice and brown. Oops. We'll wash that. Darn it. All right, guys, I'll be back. All right, quart of chili starter, quart of tomatoes, a pint of ranch black beans. It's not like ranch dressing, it's ranch like Cowboy. About a third of an onion and a pound of sausage. Y'all, it's delicious. So I'm gonna let this simmer. Pardon me. I just checked on our cornbread. It is up to 300 degrees and it is absolutely cooking. So while our chili cooks, I'm gonna wash all of these dishes that are over here. If y'all can see. Yeah, I got a bunch. So, ooh, excuse me, guys. All right, I'll see you in a little bit. Well, y'all, I'm right proud of my dinner. So, it took about an hour for the cornbread. Not bad at all. And we have some delicious hot chili soup loaded with garden tomatoes, all kinds of beans, some onions. Yum, yum. But let's take a look at the cornbread. Now, one thing to remember, guys, is some ovens hot like an oven. So mine did not get above 300 that I observed. And the other thing to remember is a sun oven does not brown like an oven. Okay, that's hot too. So let's give us a big chunk of cornbread. I may have to stand up to dish that up. Ooh, that's tender. Okay. Let me get a spatula. Excuse the Christmas Passover, but that's what I could lay hands on. Wow, that is really, really tender. I'm not doing a great job of getting it out, but it is well done and looks absolutely delicious. Not even sure how to get it out of there. The chickens keep coming up on the deck, which is very unusual for them. Okay, I'm going to use my hand, guys. Just pretend that didn't happen. Yeah. Kind of. Oh, y'all. Jalapenos give it a nice kick. Let's give our soup a taste, too. Meal fit for a king. So I do have canned sausage that in a pinch I could use. I didn't want to use it because, you know, I have a limited amount of home canned meats on my shelf. I might want to do some more home canned meats. But guys, this is a meal fit for a king. Very delicious. The cornbread really does not need butter. And if I would have waited till it cooled a little bit, it would have cut better. But it is absolutely delicious. All right, y'all, I'm going to enjoy some lunch. And then this afternoon, I'm going to take a rest after I wash everything up. We're going to get into doing some off-grid laundry because I've done it before. But I just want to see how it goes. I've got a couple new ideas. All right, guys, see you shortly. Y'all, how about some off-grid laundry? Found another use for that apron for sure. All right. Ooh, that's too hot. I'm coming, guys. Y'all, I have to tell you, I'm whipped. Can I just say that? I'm whipped. It's probably not the best angle. Let me try to tip you back just a little bit. Okay. Oh, that's better. So, I was reading a little bit of the Foxfire series, and I wanted to read a little something to you. about washing. And this is, I'll link these as well, guys. I'm sorry about the traffic. This is Foxfire Series 4, and this is Etta and Charlie Ross Hartley, and they're from North Carolina. So here's, I'm going to read it like it's written, so excuse the southern slang, that type thing. Okay, and the washing now. They always had to go to a branch or a creek. If you don't know what a branch is, it's smaller than a creek, runs off a creek. Yeah. Seems to me it was mostly a branch since it had more water at it. They got ready to wash them clothes and they'd boil them out in that kettle with lye soap. Well, lye soap just had a higher percentage of lye and a lower percentage of superfat. And if you've watched any of my soaping videos, you'll understand all true soap is made with lye. All hard soap is made with lye. That's all we knowed in them days. I can't even remember seeing a cake of store-bought soap. Then they'd carry the clothes to the branch in tubs. There must have been at that time some tub makers. In fact, my dad could make tubs. He had all the tools, but I never saw him make but one. But we had a wood bucket. Now that's what we had at the time. You put your clothes in it and carried them out here now to the branch and tried to find a flat rock high enough for battling. Patty cake with a battling stick, we called it. All them battling sticks, well, I guess I seen 100 of them, was made of red maple. Now you might wonder why red maple? Well, red maple is a fine grain, and in beating them on clothes, the grain stays smooth. Now you take oak, poplar, or chestnut, it's got a coarse grain to it, if you remember. If you beat with that kind, it gets so that it's rough and leaves streaks there and beats your clothes all to pieces. Now that water, you can't rinse your clothes in a pond. You gotta have your water running. We always tried to catch a place where the water was running over the shoals or something. Hold your clothes under that and rinse them. Sometimes if you didn't have that, you could manage. Get you a rock and roll them into the branch. Then when the water came rushing over it, you'd rinse there. Then you get to the place next where you have water running through the heart of a log. Now the first log I ever saw notched from the top to carry water, I made it. We got to a place that was too level to wash in, and we just absolutely had no place for water. My mother, she walked up to this little poplar tree, I'd say about 8 inches in diameter, and said, "Charlie, I believe you can cut this down and hew me out a log to run my water through so we can pour it off." So I'm going to skip forward just a little bit. Now that beating clothes on a rock, it does wear them, but them old timers had to do something. When we come along, it was much the same way, and that's the way we done that. And this was written in the 70s, y'all, and he was in his 80s. So he was born in the late 1800s. Boil them, rinse them, beat them, go back and rinse them again to get the wrinkles out of them, and then dry them. Hang them on a fence. Of course, there was no wire, so they had to hang them on rail fences, bushes, poles, stuff like that. So, let's pay homage to Maytag, right? But I do have an off-grid washing machine. And it comes in really handy, like if you're camping, that type of thing. So, let me try to do this without killing my back, y'all. So, this is what it looks like. And again, guys, I'll leave links to everything. So I've got my little, ooh, I'm sitting in water. Got my little bag of soap nuts I'm gonna put in. And what I did was I boiled some water after lunch so I could wash my dishes and also wash a lot of the stuff that we dirtied up. And I'm going to just kind of get this agitated a little bit before I put the clothes in. Now, soap nuts are not highly sudsing, so we're not going to have a lot of suds in here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to take all of the towels that I've dirtied, quite a few, and I'm going to put them in here. Now I may have to add some water to this. have a canning mat earlier this week that I used inside the house. So let me get some more water. I'm gonna get this filled up. We're gonna start agitating, and then I may pull these out, scrub them off a little bit on the washboard before we rinse, and we're gonna just rinse in white vinegar. So very natural way. Stay tuned. All right, y'all. This is a really simple little device. It's gonna grab onto the inner wash tub once we latch it down. Oops. There we go. And you turn. So you are the agitator. And you turn the other way. And guys, the fuller it is and the more clothes you have, the more challenging it can really be. So what I plan to do here is latch. There we go. Is I'm going to agitate for a little while. Good arm workout. And then I'm going to let them soak. Then I'm going to pull them out. And any stains I'm going to scrub on the washboard. I'm going to put them back in, do a little more agitation, and then we should be ready to rinse. So, you know, this is really about being off grid and trying to see what you have and what you don't have. That would be helpful in a grid down situation, or at least that's what this is about for me. But I find myself going back to my ancestors and thinking about how hard they had to work. And I will tell you all, I burned plenty of calories today. All right, let's just, I'm gonna just take a peek here. Oh yeah, we're good. I'm gonna let this soak a while. I'm gonna read a little bit. I'm thinking about some brownies in the sun oven. Doesn't that sound good? I mean, if you can bake cornbread, I'm sure you could bake brownies. It might just take a couple hours. So I've left the sun oven positioned in the sun so it'll stay preheated. I've also put out my solar panels so that I can top off the charge on my Ube's battery, so I'll be able to recharge my phone and maybe even look at some television. We'll see. But for right now, I'm ready for a rest, guys. So I will see you in a little bit. Just be a second for you. All right, y'all. I've let these soak for a while, and I've noticed I have some stains. So let's get the good old Barron's washboard out. I believe this you can buy on Amazon. I'm not sure where mine came from, to be honest about it. It might have come from Lehman's. I do like Lehman's. And guys, I did go get a little bit of liquid laundry soap, just so that I could do a better job on stains, since there are definitely tomato stains on this, and I don't know, this may be a permanent stain. But the friction does help. Oh yeah. Well, boy howdy. Not the most ladylike way, guys. I'm trying to keep my dress pulled down. There we go. All right, I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna scrub these, then I'm gonna stick them back in here and agitate a little bit, let them soak a little longer, take another rest, and I'll see y'all in a little bit, but that's my process. Well, our towels are nice and clean. I just wanted to show you there is a hose here for draining, and then there is a little lever that you turn over here for draining. Keep knocking that off. Not sure why either. probably operator error. There we go. Or not. All right, well, I'll fix that in just a minute. But anyway, I'm going to drain these. My water is quite dirty, guys. I don't know if you can see. So I will get these drained, put some rinse water in, some nice cold water, a little bit of vinegar, and agitate them a little bit. I am going to let them soak a little bit longer. And then we'll go to wringing them out and hanging them up to dry. All right, y'all. Well, I decided to make myself a little treat. So I made some brownies, even though I'm not a huge chocolate fan. I figure if I can cook cornbread, I can cook brownies as well. So I just popped those in the sun oven. I still have all of my solar panels out here soaking up all of the maximum sunlight. So this is what they look like from the front. And you'll notice all of the laundry washed, rinsed, and hung to dry. So the chickens are kind of resting. They look really, really cute. Let's see if I can show you without disturbing them. Aren't they cute? And they're just all sitting together. Well, Miss Violet's brooding in her coop, but they're cute. And I apologize, somebody's cutting down a tree. So let me give you some thoughts here. All right, y'all. If you remember what I said yesterday, no fancy photography. So I'm sitting here on the floor with my coupe's power station, and I actually have the phone that I'm using to record on plugged in. And as you can see, it's at 96% charged, and I can charge my phone for 51 hours. So after I charge my phone, I'm probably going to want to take my solar panels and charge up the battery the rest of the way for the evening to see what all we can get into. So y'all might be wondering, oh, here comes the chickens. I've got this new thing about the deck, but they're afraid of the broom, so that helps. Do I want to be off grid? And that is a hard no, y'all. Would I like to decrease my reliance on the grid? Of course I would. What I can tell you so far is it is a lot of work, y'all. A lot of work. And I am using on-grid water, but just getting water out of the rain barrel to bucket flush, turning on and off the outdoor sink, heating up water to wash dishes, although I've learned in the afternoon here with the sun shining, the water is coming out warm for a very long time, so it's a little easier to wash dishes. I did not share the recipe for the brownies, guys, because it is free, but it is not my recipe. And if you go to Sun Oven's website, they have a cookbook there, so you can download a lot of recipes. So I thought, ooh, a treat might be nice this evening, because I'm so tired I don't want to really cook. So we'll just let the Sun Oven do the work. I feel like I have some things that would be of great assistance should the grid be down, but I can definitely see some holes. Another thing that I do have is this fan that also has a light on it. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. And it is also chargeable from solar panels, or you can charge it from your power station, whatever. So if I need a fan this evening, I will have this as well. That is a super handy thing because I'm always too warm. So it is about, let's see, it's going on 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We're going to let our brownies cook. We're going to let our laundry dry. I'm actually going to lay down and relax a little bit and rest my back. Y'all, I'm old. And this is a little bit harder than I thought it would be, really sticking to it. I can't tell you the number of times I've gone into a room and started to flip on a light switch. Old habits die hard, right? All right, guys, I'm going to lay down and relax. I will see you all a little bit later. We'll taste our brownies. We'll bring in the dried laundry. We'll get the chickens in the run do a few other things, and then I'm going to give you some final thoughts of things I've learned today. I hope you'll stay tuned. All right, y'all. Now remember that I did not promise expert photography, right? So it's the end of a very long day. Brownies, good. I learned a lot today, y'all. So I'm actually in bed, obviously, and I have the little battery-operated fan, the rechargeable fan I showed you. I have that on, and I have it right here in the bed with me, and listen to how quiet it is, I hope. So, unfortunately, I ran down my Apple Watch, so I didn't get a real accurate count of how many steps. But it ran down at about 15,000 steps. So no wonder I'm tired. And I worked hours after that. Whew. Very good. Okay, I'll stop eating for a moment. So, what did this experience teach me? I have some talking notes. First of all, I love the grid. All the grid, right? But in all seriousness, I am not super well equipped, even though I have a lot of things, to do this long term. Could I do it for a few days? Absolutely. Would there be some things I would change? Absolutely. So, some of the things I learned. I need some backup items. So I'm very well stocked on food, guys. You've all seen my pantry and cleaning supplies and things like that. What I don't have is a backup propane tank, and I don't have backup butane. So I need to take care of those two things. Another thing I learned very early this morning is I need to keep my oil lamps in good working order and clean those shades on a regular basis, because a dirty shade just makes it really difficult to see. And trust me, y'all, they get dirty from just setting. So I did wash those with soap. I just didn't show that, and dried them well, and got my wick threaded. Keep your wicks trimmed. Keep your lamps in good working order if you're going to rely on it for power. The third thing I learned, I get up far too early. So Hanky Panky Frankie's partially responsible for that, but I am a very early riser. So it's okay in the long days of summer, but as the days get shorter and I have to wait a couple hours for daylight to happen, those hours were probably the hardest for me, and I kept, wanting to flip on a light switch instead of using ancillary power. I need to make sure I have plenty of cleaning cloths if I'm not going to use wipes, and I'm not going to use wipes, guys. It's much, much easier, more efficient to just have a cleaning cloth that you can rinse out. So I had to do a little searching to find everything that I needed this morning in the dark. That wasn't so much fun. And I am out of wipes, so I do need to hit the DG for some wipes for sure. I noticed that my water bath canner is going to need to be replaced. It is rusting, and they always rust, but it's rusting terminally. So I'm so used to using my electric water bath canner that if I had to do some water bath canning off-grid, I need to replace that water bath canner. I don't have any kindling, and I've got 8 gazillion sticks I can pick up in whole woods that I could get some firewood from. So I just need to replenish my supply because it was pretty low. So let's talk about laundry, y'all. My laundry did get dry, all except for a couple pieces, which I just hung on a hanger in a doorway downstairs. Laundry is hard work. If I was going to be off-grid long-term, I would have a different setup, and I would have a clothesline. But, pardon me, since that's not my plan, I would not invest in anything beyond what I had, but it was really nice to be able to wash everything up, and everything came beautifully clean, and relatively wrinkle-free. So that worked. It was just a lot of work. Another thing is having printed material is really important. If the grid was truly down, I would not have internet access, and so having printed recipes was very helpful. If you are going to use a solar oven, definitely print off some free recipes of things that you would make. The cornbread was delicious. These brownies are amazing. So definitely, that's a definite do. And I guess the thing that I learned the most is that everything takes way more energy. And we are really blessed, y'all, in today's modern world with all of our conveniences. I was so surprised. I mean, it was fun, a little, but once I got tired, it wasn't fun. And you start to think about everything you're using and doing. Am I going to have to wash that? Do I really want to drag that out? Could I just skip dinner, which is what I actually did tonight? So, y'all, the best thing I can tell you is make a plan. Be as prepared as you think that you need to be. But just having some sort of plan, I think, will ease your fear should there be an outage. I did see, because as I shared, I am on the internet, so I was able to charge my phone and take a look that, the hurricane threat is real for Florida. So I just want y'all to know I'm praying for you. And just be mindful of what's coming up. Be mindful of supplies. Go ahead and check, guys. I would be in dire straits on bucket flushing the toilet if it wasn't raining, and it's not supposed to rain for like the next 2 weeks, because 50 gallons of water is not a lot of water in the rain barrel. So that might be a challenge for me going forward. I would hope that my outage would not be that long, but we might have to make an outdoor loo, just saying. All right, guys, I appreciate you sticking with me through this. This has been like the longest day ever, just saying. But I appreciate you watching both of the videos. If you haven't already, guys, go ahead and smash that like button. If there's something I missed that you think I should consider, that should be part of my plan, go ahead and drop me that comment below, or something you want to share with the group. We would all be interested in hearing. It never hurts to be very prepared. So I will see you all next week. But until then, be healthy, be well, be blessed, take care.